Hey everybody, Tony T with a Piney podcast. Here's the latest. No South Jersey news to be had. Sorry. It's all about Phil. So today, Phil said he's happy to report that we're up to 20,000 testings a day, and he'd like to get everybody in New Jersey tested. Okay, let's say you could do that. 20,000 tests a day. In 5 days, you could test 100,000 people. In 50 days, you could test 1,000,000 people. And in 450 days, you could test all 9 million New Jersey residents. Now, that's not counting all the people you're going to have to retest multiple times, including people who got sick, recovered, EMTs, nurses, doctors, and all those people too. So really, you got to probably add another, 5 days on top of that. But that's like a year and 3 months, Phil. You can't realistically test everyone in the state. And even if you could, by the time you did, a year and 3 months, people would have left, people would have moved in, people would have come and gone. The state's not closed. You can't close the borders, Phil. People come in and out of this state every single day. Even though you're urging everybody to stay at home, cooped up, which wasn't the strategy in Japan, where they didn't have much of a problem, you think you can control everybody through contact tracing and be able to instantly find everybody who's been connected to everybody else. Now, Phil makes a point. This was on a radio show, the Maggie and Moose show, or whatever the heck that was. And he makes a point that we're one of the most densely populated states in the country, and that is true. We're very densely populated up in the north, not down here in the south. But that kind of is a reason not to keep everybody bottled up, because in those cases, we've had 66% of the people who got serious complications were cooped up at home. They were either in a nursing home or they were cooped up somewhere. And being cooped up is bad for you for this particular thing. So, this continual, and despite that, and despite he's trying to continue to lock down and all that, the numbers keep going down, down, down. Now, today we're at like 970 new cases, still under 1,000, and that's probably some residuals from the weekend anyway. But that's still pretty low statewide. We're talking 970 people, a little less than 1,000 people across 9 million. We're hovering around 150,000 cases, maybe 107, somewhere between 150, 175,000 cases, and the vast majority of them, only about less than 3,000 now, are in the hospital. People have recovered and gone home. People have antibodies now. And look, it's still an issue, but keeping businesses locked isn't helping. It's not helping, because I promise you, the mafia is filling in the gaps. It's what they do. They do illegal things every single day. So doing something mildly illegal like, hey, let's buy and sell stuff that, some non-essential items people want but can't get to right now. Let's have people come in and play cards and smoke and drink and take drugs, whatever. They'll find a place for it, and they'll get people in there, and they'll make some money on it. So this being all cooped up is a poor strategy. The Atlas Gym guys apparently spoke at a rally on Monday about opening things up, Open New Jersey rally. They said it was at the Silver Lake parking lot, which I'm not sure if it's the Silver Lake near me, which used to be the Silver Lake Inn, and it's now a parking lot, or if it's another Silver Lake. But apparently there was some kind of rally. People are starting to get annoyed. And again, we have giant box stores that are selling whatever they want. They're making record bank. And you've got small businesses you've said can do kind of curbside pickup. Look, these are small stores, Phil. We have a few stores in town. One of them is like an art place, right? And they'll have maybe five to 8 people in there at once if they have a class on painting. And as small as that place is, they can social distance even those people. Or they could go outside. There's actually room to go outside right near there. And the weather's nice, so they could do that. And the store being open, even though it's a non-essential business, I've never seen more than 2 people in that store, ever. And that's what a small business is. If you got a little knick-knack store, you got a little ice cream parlor, you got a tiny little this or that, you only have a handful of customers coming into the store anyway. And if you put up a sign that says social distancing or only 2 customers at once, you know, it's not going to be any big deal. People don't want to get sick, Phil. And that doesn't mean, you know, just because you're opening that up, it doesn't mean every elderly person's going to go out and get themselves sick, or every young person for that matter. But, you know, elderly people, the advice should be that elderly people should stay at home. Don't accept a lot of visitors unless you have to. Continue to social distance from those visitors, or, you know, accept visitors outside in the sun, where there'll be plenty of air and they can't, you know, get any kind of transmission going, especially this time of year with the heat and the sun. That kind of advice would make sense. Telling everybody just to shut down their businesses, these businesses are not going to come back. You're going to lose the tax revenue, and your plan is to go to the federal government with your hand out? That's not a plan. That is you effed up. So you have to open things, Phil. I hate to sound like a broken record, but he has to do it. And, you know, this is getting bad. Now, I tried to find an article. I thought I saw it on my phone when I was at work today, but I couldn't find it when I got here. That apparently someone was arrested at a gym. I'm not sure if it was Atlas or not. Don't think Atlas was open today, so I'm not sure when that article was from. Maybe somebody in the comments could confirm or deny that, but that was the rumor. That might have been the guy who got arrested before. You're arresting people, and by the way, in South Jersey, where the virus is hitting a little harder now, the virus is running through the prisons now. So you can't even keep it out of prisons, Phil. Just like you can't keep drugs out of prison, although that's not unique to you. But you can't contain this, okay? All the testing in the world wouldn't have kept it out of prisons, because somebody's going to go in there thinking they're perfectly healthy, spread it to a prisoner, and you're done. They're all in tight, confined spaces, and now we're going to have to spend the money to treat all these dummies. And that's on you. That's on you. I mean, the original plan was to let half these guys out, I guess, and try to keep the prison social distancing. You can't. The prisons are overcrowded. That is a bigger issue. It has to do with drugs, which, by the way, you promised to legalize marijuana, which you haven't gotten around to for various reasons. There are now Republicans stepping up, and one Democrat who wrote a stern letter to him urging to opening up and blah, blah, blah. You need more than a stern letter. You need leverage. Unfortunately, there's not enough Republicans in the state legislature to have that leverage. You guys got to start making a bigger splash. You guys got to get some Democrats on your side. You got to start looking at the numbers and the numbers haven't hit yet, because understand, you got all these people out of work, but they're getting money. They've only been out of work for a couple of months, 3 months maybe, right? But at some point the gravy train's gonna end. Then what? Then what do all those people do? Well, if they work at a restaurant, their restaurant hasn't opened. If they're a waiter or a waitress or cook or hostess, they don't have a job at all. So you got to open those places up, Phil. You could just tell people not to go to restaurants. I mean, you could just cut down on the capacity. You could tell them to open their windows. Yeah, you could tell them to wear a mask and social distance. But you got to open these. There's not going to be any restaurants left, Phil. And that's a lot of businesses in the state of New Jersey. We love our food here. I love the food here. That Phil is ruining the food, well, that would have lost my vote immediately. But, you know, he's lost my vote for his handling of this. So, it's time. Again, he's not listening, so everybody, please write Governor Phil and tell him to open the state, and write your state legislature and get them all geared up. Maybe a couple of them will, maybe, a few emails will help motivate them. Oh, the people are with us, and we could do a little more here. Maybe we could pass some kind of bill to force him to open things. I mean, you can override him. It's just like a mini Congress. The state legislature can override the governor, just like the Congress can override the president. It's tough. You're going to have to get some of the Democrats on board. But I think if you show them the numbers and really explain to them, you guys are in trouble here, maybe more than one will jump on board. Think about it.